doing?
Cuba.
Cuba! Cuba, man! Cuba! All right, Castro, baby, and Obama. Way to go, guys. Now we can... is this really a Cubano cigar?
That's really a Cubano. Yeah, I don't know if you're... no, it's not a Cubano, Tom, because it's illegal still.
No. The President of the United States of America has cut through all the nonsense. Now those of you who enjoy Cubano cigars can partake. It's pretty simple. I sent you a picture.
Yes.
A close-up so the folks can see this is the real stuff. There's no goofing around on
no fillers in there.
Enemies of the state. Castro's no longer an enemy, so now we can partake of his wonderful cigars.
Exactly.
So,
and this is it. Yeah. So it is real.
Where's your picture? I'm waiting for a picture. There we go. That is actually a picture, ladies and gentlemen, of the cigar that I'm choking on right now with all the smoke in our studio. And where else can you smoke a cigar in a studio someplace? Can you do that? Where's a good cigar?
Well, yeah, on like cigar talk shows.
Oh, you mean the one we're going to do in our in our new studio? How many letters am I going to get?
Oh, you're going to get hammered, Tom.
Oh, you cannot smoke a cigar in the air. The kids are going to all jump off a bridge.
What kids are watching the show? I'm pretty curious.
Yeah, I don't know. If they are, they're good kids.
But I do
like should smoke cigars.
I do like your graphic that you chose for the show. Though.
Well, what we have at 8 minutes after 4 o'clock on the 18th.
I do like this graphic, Tom.
Yeah, look at it. The 18th of December, Thursday. Look at that thing. Somebody read that.
I love this guy. It is a picture of Fidel Castro in his white, red, and blue trimmed athletic attire holding the Obama poster Progress. And it's captioned, I love this guy.
And somebody dyed Castro's beard. He looks like he's dead. He looks like he was in a coffin. He came out. They put his beard up. Put the picture in his hands.
Dude, Castro died 5 years ago.
Did he die? Or
they just embalmed him and they wheel him around on a hand truck.
Yeah, he does look like he's kind of like wheeled around on a hand truck.
Well, yeah, there's something really good about that. Tom Trento here. Enemies of the State is the name of the show. We're happy to announce that we've taken one enemy off the enemy list, and that's the country of Cuba, the dictator Fidel Castro and his brother, are they co-dictators?
Is Raul? Was that easy?
Yeah, Raul. I think they're co-dictators.
No, Raul is in charge. When Castro almost died, Fidel handed over the reins.
Yeah, but in a real dictatorship,
Raul doesn't
guy
look much better than Fidel, actually.
Together, they're 714 years old. Yeah, about 714 years old at 9 minutes after 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We're celebrating the new renaissance with that country only about 90 miles from where we are right now. That bastion of new economic freedom, of new political freedom, of new cultural freedom, simply because Rex Obama, King Obama, through the dictates of his word, said, we got a new situation here. And it's fabulous how he did it. And we're dedicating most of the show today, folks, to this situation where Obama said, all of this happened before I was born.
I know. He's actually right.
Like it really doesn't matter that it happened before I was born.
Well, 1 year.
Only the stuff after. That whole Muslim thing, it happened a long time ago.
Yeah.
They're our friends. That Iranian thing,
he is the center of the universe. Even time itself evolves around this man.
It's simply, absolutely amazing. And what we're going to do today, our big idea, folks, is that...
Tom, you know who else enjoyed cigars?
Who's that?
Fidel.
Oh, my word.
Look at that. I think it's the same...
A dictator after my own heart.
Yeah, well, he smoked Churchills, I think.
What do you think this is?
That's not a Churchill.
Yes, it is. Read it.
What is it?
Wide Churchill.
Okay. All right.
Tell the folks where I got this. It actually is, for those of you who smoke cigars and those of you interested in smuggling,
Hey, it's in the blood. He
Go
can't
back over
freaking
here.
help himself.
For those of you interested in cigars, or those of you interested in smuggling,
It was a gift from
this cigar is a true Cubano cigar. And truth be told, we here at the United West do partake on occasion of a good cigar. And we are not beholden to Cuban cigars.
No.
I don't think they're the best in the world.
No, actually, I didn't. I like the Maduros, the triple Maduros, and stuff like that. I love it.
Cigar, though, Mike. Mark, you have no cigar over there, man. But
Hold on, I'll be back.
not again. But on
you're
my
hurting me.
recent trip to Israel, Israel is not part of the embargo. It's not even an embargo that we have at Cuba. We just say you can't do certain things. We're going to get through all of that. But on my recent trip in Israel, I picked up a couple of these.
Well, they were gifts.
And
they were gifts. Yes.
So they're really Jubans. They're not Cubans.
They're Jubans. Somehow they made it back somehow to my office, and we use them for special occasions. And this is indeed what more, I mean.
Well, how else would
yesterday
you,
we didn't know
I
this
mean,
was gonna happen.
this is like a total celebration for us getting the cigars. I mean, what else could go wrong?
I know, man. Now the way we're going to do the show today, where we're going to start the show, and whenever we do a show, folks, we have a little bit of a script here that we follow. About,
religiously.
religiously.
We actually, Tom, you were pretty good a few days this
right,
week.
yeah. not bad.
You've been like almost 1 for 2. So
I have
far.
690 there, 690 days until what?
2016 elections. It's either Armageddon or the hopeful beginning turnaround of this country's path.
And let me tell you, the events of the past 24 hours with and we know they were taking place much beyond that, the secret talks and all of this, but the dictatorial statements by Obama, bringing in a new era of a relationship with a communist terrorist country we weren't aware of a day ago. We have here on our big idea, we're raising the question, are communists, very important question, folks, are communists just really Democrats turned inside out? That's the question we're asking today. And you know, Alan West, a couple of years ago, made a comment that there are like 81 communists in the American Congress, U.S. Congress in Washington, D.C. Remember that when he said that?
Yeah, and he was ripped apart, and the people said he's crazy. And another example of that, he's crazy.
Right.
Crazy Alan West.
Yeah, and
Not so crazy anymore.
His point was that we have a free market government here. We have a particular government, a particular polity, governmental polity in the United States of America, that in order for it to be an American republic, it necessitates certain policy issues related to culture, related to finance, related to the military, all of that. Well, there happens to be 81 people or so in Congress back when Alan was criticizing Congress that have a completely different view. And the view they held was more in simpatico with a Marxist view, a pure Marxist-Leninist view of finance and of government than a Jeffersonian view. So Alan's point was, these guys are leaning on the communist socialist side. Now, what I like to do today, folks, I get often surprised by the folks here, Mark and Damon and others.
No, not us.
With the opening music. I never know what it's going to be. I have a little surprise for both of them today.
What happened?
You guys ready for my little surprise?
Is it a cigar?
No. Well, I do have a cigar here, but that's not for you. Or for me. Oh, man, ashes all over the place.
Yeah, see, that's bad for your health.
Every
Tom.
shirt I have.
Tom, you should quit. That's bad for your health. And I agree with all those letters that you're going to be getting, criticizing you about how you're corrupting the youth of America with your smoking of cigars.
I know. And speaking of shirts, this is not the same shirt I had on yesterday. Okay, it's the same color, the same design, the same stain over here, but it's not the same shirt. So get that out of your head, because I didn't forget my other shirt at home today. Didn't happen. And this one didn't happen to be hanging here. And it was either no shirt or this shirt. None of that happened.
Good choice,
Is that
Tom.
the
Good
surprise?
Choice. Good choice, Tom.
No, I don't know.
So what's the surprise, Tom?
The surprise is this. At 15 minutes after 4 o'clock on the East Coast, 18 December, only 6 days. Is it the 18th? So 7 days.
18th.
A week from today is Christmas. A week from today.
Oh.
Third day of
Ho, ho, ho.
Hanukkah. Third day of Hanukkah. You've been getting your gifts, Damon, the Jewish producer?
I must say, Tom, I have not.
Your fans from the show are not sending you gifts?
No, Tom, they're not.
Come on, guys.
You didn't get your pencils and your eraser and all the wonderful gifts you guys get on Hanukkah?
I have not.
Oh, look at this. The
dictator,
the two dictators morphed. All right, let's go back to the dictators.
Okay.
And I have for you guys, I have a special pre-Christmas current Hanukkah gift for both of you.
Okay.
Oh, exciting.
Right, here we go.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you a question. You give me the answer.
Okay.
And this is a civics test for those of you driving in your automobiles, WSBR Radio 740 on the dial. If you're watching on Tea Party Community, our great friends over there, you need to sign up. TeaPartyCommunity.com. It's Facebook for real conservatives. A lot of dialogue, a lot of interaction, a lot of coordination, a lot of events. We're there. Our show is on every day, 4 to 5 East Coast time. Tea Party Community. You don't even have to leave your site right there. Or you can go to unitedwest.org anytime, 24 hours after we leave the show. We finish the show until the next day. We put the next one up. If you want to watch past shows, and you ought to want to watch past shows, you can do that at youtube.com. We're on YouTube. /The United West.
Or just click the link on the main. There's a link right on the main web page.
There's a link right in there. All right, here's the surprise for you guys. It's a civics test about our leader.
Okay.
Not our new leader to my...
King Obama?
My right. The President Obama. I'm going to ask you a question. Okay. Does President Obama prefer a one-party, his preference, a one-party governmental system or a two-party governmental system?
Well, the way he's acting, I'd say one.
Two.
One. Why do you say two?
Because he needs somebody to whoop on.
Well, but
he wants to be the dominant.
If he had his preference, would the
one-party rule, but having a whipping boy as a second party?
All right. Does President Obama prefer a judiciary that is free and open, or one that is subservient and in lockstep with his dictates?
Two. B.
Yes, agreed.
So we'll call that a controlled judiciary.
Correct.
Okay. Does President Obama prefer private finance, private ownership, private banking, or decentralized banking, or does he like more centralized state-controlled banking?
State-controlled banking.
Of course.
State-controlled banking. All right, number 4. My own writing is hard to read sometimes.
Yes, it is.
Healthcare. Does President Obama prefer a free market healthcare,
universal healthcare?
Or more a state-controlled healthcare?
State-controlled, universal healthcare.
Universal. Okay, I got that down. Let's go to the commander-in-chief position. He is the commander-in-chief.
Yeah, that's right.
Hard to believe, but yes.
Does he defer to his generals, or does he prefer to pick out the people and send them?
You have to define that, Tom. Does he defer?
Let him ask the question. He didn't even ask the question.
He's a military guy. He's anticipating my question.
No, I'm saying
What's
you
the
said, does he defer to his generals for military, right? For military action, for military decisions, or not? Is that's your question?
Yeah.
Well, he defers the blame to his generals. I mean, you have to kind of qualify.
He would
that.
prefer to run the.
He actually ignores the input of his generals, and he has done it on many occasions.
Yes. So so from a military point of view, he's almost direct military control.
Direct military control.
Okay, let's go to religion.
Okay.
Does he on the religious element? Is he a big-time, hardcore supporter of any religion other than Islam?
Yes.
Or is his view that religion ought to have a role in influencing culture and government?
Yes. Black liberation
Yes,
theology.
Black liberation theology, I'd say that. So, you kind of...
Okay.
Which isn't really a religion. That's just Marxism.
No,
that's basically
Marxism.
black Marxism.
Okay.
Which is actually Marxism.
Which is an offshoot of atheism.
Right.
All right. The fourth estate, all of those wonderful, hardcore, honest journalists out there that when they see President Obama, after they bow down and worship him, then they investigate him and expose him, like in Fast and Furious and Benghazi and the... Oh, wait. That Fourth Estate doesn't exist anymore, does it? Does President Obama prefer a free and open press or a press that he can control?
Pravda.
He absolutely prefers the controlled press.
Yeah, the Pravda type stale.
Okay.
In fact, he has been known to go after the non-subservient press, if you'll remember, with James Rosen.
Of Fox News.
Of Fox News, when he started getting too investigative, or Cheryl Atkinson, when they got a little bit too investigative in their journalism, have been either looked at by, was it the NSA or the CIA that went into Rosen's stuff, and the NSA with Cheryl Atkinson.
All right, so what we have here, 22 minutes after 4 o'clock, on WSBR Radio. We want you to be there every day, 4 o'clock Eastern. You can listen on iHeartRadio also. Just go to iHeart, put in WSBR 740 AM on the dial, 4 o'clock East Coast. What we're doing right now, folks, our show today is dedicated to the situation, developing situation in Cuba, only 90 miles about from where we are, a little more from where we are. And I just gave the boys a short quiz on the civics of President Obama, who went to school in Indonesia.
Yeah.
Went to school in Hawaii.
Yes.
Went to school in Los Angeles Occidental. Went to Columbia in New York. Then he went to Harvard in Massachusetts. Did his law degree and wrote a couple of books.
No, did he write those books, or did Bill Ayers write those books?
Right. The word "right" is loose. You know, I got quotes. Yeah. But I mean, he's distinguished himself as an academic, and he's a law professor. He was a law professor. We did a little. We did a little civics test on him, and we've concluded that, and you can look right here, that he prefers the president prefers a one-party system. He prefers to control the judiciary. He prefers to have state-controlled banks. He prefers to have state-controlled health insurance. He prefers direct involvement with the military. He prefers black liberation theology, which is Marxism, which is atheism. And he prefers controlling the press. That's his political wish list.
To a T.
Guess what country also loves this?
Wait. Are you saying in 2016, after he leaves office, he's going to run for office in Cuba?
What do you think he's doing?
With Fidel.
He's going to be the next president of Cuba.
They're going to have open and free elections with their one-party system, their one-party health care. There he is, Che Obama. At 24 minutes after. You got to watch the show, folks. We got some great graphics today. But let's go back to our opening graphic as we celebrate the new renaissance with Cuba. And we just went through, very simply, President Obama's political philosophy. And it fits friggin' Cuba more than it does the United States of America. Go, Mark, zoom out a little. Let them see. I love this guy. Look at
that.
So what is going on here, folks?
What is going on?
What do you think? Wait a minute. Where's Alan Gross? Isn't this really all about Alan Gross, the poor gentleman who for over 1,800 days, 5 years, was imprisoned? Oh,
it's all about Bo Bergdahl.
They have prisons in Cuba for political dissidents. He wasn't even a political dissident. He's a Jew over there selling phones and internet stuff, and they lock him up. You know,
no phones for you.
No phones for you.
So what is our big point here?
You tell us. You
the
sure
big
showed
point is Obama is essentially wishes he were a dictator of a communist country.
I just put the graphic
like the Castros have been for 50 plus years.
We know, and any of you who have studied Obama's political philosophy and his growth, his progress. These are great pictures that I go, look, that guy is dead. You're not going to tell me Castro's not dead. They stuffed him and they stuck a
They rolled
Cuban flag in his hand.
What did you say? They put him in one of those dolly wheel carts and
they roll him around, and I mean, all the Lenin. Lenin is still in Red Square someplace, on a glass.
Hold on. I love this graphic here because it has him sitting in front of who's that picture? Is that Karl Marx?
No,
no.
Is it or is it?
No, that's Engels.
Engels.
That's okay. Frederick Engels.
Frederick Engels, sitting right across from. Our great friend from Venezuela, Hugo Chavez.
The dearly departed.
The dearly departed.
Now, whoever would have thought Fidel Castro would have outlived Chavez?
Oh, no, folks, this is very serious. I mean, we're taking a lighthearted look because of the absurdity of this. Right. 27 minutes after 4 o'clock, WSBR Radio. Tom Trento, your host. Enemies of the State. We got a whole bunch of them today. But when you start deconstructing...
hold on. I love this quote. You got to love this quote. Because this goes right in line with what you're saying.
This is from his book.
It's from his book. This is Obama's words. I choose my friends carefully. The more politically active black students, the foreign students, the Chicanos, the Marxist professors, and the structural feminists, and the punk rock performance poets. Tells you.
Go ahead, yeah.
The Marxist
Does it say Marxist professors?
The Marxist professors and structural feminists.
This is right out of his book.
We actually have the audio, and I didn't get time to cue it up, but he actually says it in his own words.
Play that. Read that again for the audience, because we are. Let me do this. Then you can read it again. We are making a point today that President Obama is scamming every single American that buys into this nonsense with Cuba. And for our Jewish brethren, we're all very happy when anybody's released from any totalitarian country. But in particular, this situation with Alan Gross, don't say, oh, Obama got our Jewish brother free. This is a front. This is simply a beard, a beard. Obama needs a beard. This is simply a beard cover for saying, oh, they're making humanitarian gestures now. They let him go. The guy lost 100 friggin' pounds in custody in the prisons in Cuba. When people go to jail in this country, like in Guantanamo, they come out. You saw those 5 guys.
They're in better shape than they ever were. They eat better. They work out. They got their soccer fields. They're everything they want. The guy lost 100 pounds and almost all his teeth. Where's the outrage? Where there was with the CIA reports, where no one lost 100 pounds and all their teeth. The guys were freaking waterboarded to provide intelligence that saved U.S. lives. What did they gain from almost killing this guy over the last 5 years?
This is how bad this situation is. And poor Alan Gross. I have never seen in my life, and I've been dealing with these national security things for a very long time, I've never, ever, ever seen in my life, and this needs to be exposed, and we're working on this right now, but I've never seen, 29 minutes after 4 o'clock, listen carefully, I've never seen anybody released in any capacity from any hostage or prison situation, whether it's 1 day as a hostage or 1 year as a prisoner. What immediately happens to that individual once they're released? Where do they go? The United States has a process when a is released or a prisoner is released back to our custody. What's the process?
We debrief him. Yeah, we're
Number one,
we debrief them.
They go to medical care.
Right.
They go in and they're in a hospital for days, undergoing medical observation, medical care, making sure everything's going on. Once they're stabilized physically, then they go through psychological, not deprogramming, but psychological
evaluation.
Yeah, there's an evaluation, there's assistance. The guy's been in a Cuban prison for 5 years. What is that like? You lost 100 pounds. He has no teeth anymore. So his life was altered. So you go through this whole process, physiologically, psychologically. Then you go to the investigators, and you're with them for days. You're talking about the size of your prison, the operation of the prison guards, the food you were eating, the people you met, the notes you took. Everything is handed over. Then you're released like Bergdahl to his family, and you're reacclimated to your family. Then, if you choose, you come out publicly. Has anybody ever seen a guy in prison in a communist country, viewed as a spy, gets off the airplane and goes and delivers a press conference and praises President Obama?
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
I have never seen anything like that.
No,
that to us here at Enemies of the State raises a red flag. Has Alan Gross been brainwashed? Has Alan Gross been flipped by the Cubans in any way, shape, or form? Or more likely, this whole process has been going on for a while, and Alan Gross has been working, we guess, with some intermediary. I'm sure we're going to see intermediary countries that were involved during all of this discussion, and all of this thing was programmed. You know, the talking points were programmed. The Alan Gross success being brought back is phenomenal. Do not confuse that with President Obama's. And there's a picture of Alan Gross who lost his teeth, and you know, thank God the guy's okay. And whatever his political views are, it looks like he's a left of center guy. He worked in Gaza, he worked in the West Bank, all of these places.
God.
Yeah,
okay.
But whatever. He's out of the stupid Castro thing. I had well, yeah, I don't know that story. I may have known some people that tried to, at one point a long time ago, see if Castro could go visit the afterlife.
Right.
Okay, years and years and years ago when he first got in. I had nothing to do with it, but I may have known some folks who were trying to do something like that.
With those cigars?
Exploding cigars. I hope this one doesn't explode. Oh, there's books out on this stuff of all the crazy ways the CIA tried to get him literally with exploding cigars. But folks, we are validating the point that President Obama is looking for a legacy, and he will sacrifice the United States Constitution, the goodwill of the American people, and the national security of the American people to get something in the win column on his side. He's lost in the Middle East. He went there June of 2009 and said, we are bringing a new America to the Middle East. He was at American University in Cairo, Egypt. Remember that?
Yep.
9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. It's only 5 years ago.
Yes.
How great was that success?
Fantastic.
It blew up, and it's about to explode the Middle East. So now he's going to Southeast Asia.
He's single-handedly responsible for the creation of ISIS.
He really is. He really, really is. Now he's going to Southeast Asia a little bit over there and trying to, before he had with nitwit Hillary hitting the red button with the wrong words.
Oh, yeah.
Remember?
Reset.
It wasn't. What was the word for that?
No, I think you just said blow up.
He had the wrong Russian word. He was resetting the relationship with Vladimir Putin and President Nikolaevich.
It was.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Loaded. And it's a gigantic mess.
People don't understand how Russia is a very dangerous wounded animal right now, and that of all the things that he's done.
Hang on. Damon, who's speaking now, has degrees in economics and was in the finance world for a long time, so understand this quite well. Give us a 1 minute on Soviet financial stability right now, because all of this fits in as to what Obama's doing.
The one country that Obama's decided to get a little tough with, that we don't need to pick a fight with, the one country that is actually tough on Islamic terrorism internationally is Russia. What's happening economically in Russia right now, their currency is down over 50% on the year. 50%. Their interest rates have hiked up to 17%. Okay, our interest rates, for example, are like 1%. Okay,
so virtually overnight, you're paying for your automobile 4%, 5%. Then you get a note that says
20%.
Yeah, an extra $300 a month. And they're unlimited.
Right. So it's starting to get almost Weimar Republic style, where people are having to go and buy stuff because it's getting more expensive almost on a daily basis. The price of oil. Russia is an absolute crap economy. They completely rely upon oil. The price of oil is down over 40% in the last 3 months. Okay, so when you're deriving all of your revenues for practically everything and the rest of your economy is a crooked mess, you are in big trouble. So Russia is a wounded animal right now, and Obama keeps poking him and poking him. And listen, the Ukraine is the Ukraine. Why are we having to poke the bear of Russia? Why isn't the rest of Europe doing it? The reason is they get all their heating oil and all their oil from Russia, and we are sitting there poking. What? Listen, is what he's doing in the Ukraine great? Is it the greatest example of humanitarianism in the world? Absolutely not. It's not the wisest thing in the world for us to be doing.
And their economy is in a free fall right now, as is Cuba's economy. It was. This whole thing, folks, is not saving Alan Gross. It's bailing out Fidel Castro. And Fidel Castro still tells his brother, his younger brother, Raul, what to do. President Obama just bailed out the economy of Cuba, which, if we played this properly, was going to collapse. And when it collapses, then people are more willing to make the systemic changes necessary for that country to truly change. Not to come in, bail them out now immediately. The new reforms weren't, we want a free press. We want two parties. There's one party in Cuba, the Communist Party. And they argue that they're democratic. You know how they argue? Well, anybody can run in the Communist Party as long as you believe as we do. And guess what? Once you qualify in Cuba to be a candidate, you can't say anything, you can't advertise, you can't promote yourself. Your name simply goes on there. And if you want to argue with someone who's been hand-selected by the Bureau, the Politburo, if you will, the ruling class who lives in the nice homes and all that, Fidel and Raul and their friends, if you want to run against them, you can't say anything to run against them. All you can do is throw your name on a list, and you're never going to win. That's why these dictators get, what percentage of the vote do they normally get?
99.
Yeah, 99% of the vote. And they say, oh, it was a democratic election.
99 and a half.
You know, it's... So those reforms aren't there. Oh, you know what? Once we go in and we start trading and bringing American culture, then all of that will change. It's not going to change. This is an affront to America, affront to the Cubans certainly, and it's certainly an affront to the exchange where we got Alan Gross back. I think a couple other guys are in there too who are real spies, and this is all that we know so far. That's been publicized. Usually these kind of deals, they throw a couple of people up front that aren't that bad. Then the real bad guys that we give up are quietly dumb. Well, the three that we gave up that were in prison here participated with the great brothers, the brothers who would fly around and looking for the escaped Cubans who were coming over through a raft or a boat. The brothers flew their airplanes. I know many of these brothers. And they would radio the coordinates to others who were in boats who would rescue them, because the rule is from Cuba, wet foot, dry foot. If you can get 1 foot on dry land, you are, because you're escaping a communist, totalitarian, dictatorial country, you have political asylum in the United States. Cuba, remember they shot down with the MiGs, they shot down one of those planes, killed a couple of the brothers.
Yep.
Well, the guys that were involved with that were in prison. They got released yesterday.
That's good.
Yeah.
And and if you look, like Damon was talking about earlier, with the Cuban economy tied to the Russian economy and all these circles that we're talking about.
Right.
Yesterday, okay, the ruble dropped. What does it say there, Dave?
It was a few days ago.
Well, go ahead.
Russian economy has been in trouble for months, but last night, now this article is dated December 16th, so this would have been on the 15th, 3 days ago.
Okay.
Things got absurdly bad. The value of the ruble dropped as much as 19% in the last 24 hours. The worst single-day drop for the ruble in 16 years.
That's ridiculous.
That's a free fall. That's basically an economic...
and that's the graph
that's a crash.
It's a crash.
Now Russians are reportedly bum-rushing malls to swap cash for washing machines, TVs, or laptops. Anything that seems as if it might hold value better than paper money, whose worth is evaporating in real time.
That's important. You got, you went in your bank, you took money out, or you have money in a pot hidden under your bed, whatever. You got.
This is the bear mark republic.
You have pot hidden under your bed?
You got $2,000 in rubles, okay? And you go, this is going to be worth tomorrow 1,000, and the next day 500, and the next day nothing.
It's like the Weimar Republic,
I'm
Germany.
going to go buy a washing machine.
Yeah.
Give the guy, who's going to take the money for that?
Yeah. Nobody.
Yeah.
They're going to say, no, I want silver.
Apple stopped selling online earlier this week to Russia because of the currencies. Because they're like, "What? I'm not going to sell something for 1,000 rubles today. That the 1,000 rubles might be $500 by the time that gets processed. I just sold it for $50.
You know the secondary effect because the Russians still assist Cuba in ways that they're not even totally sure of. You know that disaster in Russia was going to hit the economy. Why yesterday? Why yesterday did Obama do this? I mean,
Happy Hanukkah! Because there was still a Democratic Congress.
Yep. Go back to the until when? Go back to the quote. Why is there still Democratic Congress until when?
Until yesterday.
Tomorrow, Friday. Unbelievable, folks. President Obama is a neo-Marxist. We've been saying this. His political polity, his philosophy is Cubano, and this guy right there loves this guy.
Now we go back to that quote we were talking about earlier. We're going to have.
Oh wait, let me do one thing. People are going with the smoke, a cigar. We are, when you have when a teacher in first grade shows kids a little what's it called? A little thing you show.
Show and tell.
Yeah, like a show and tell thing. The thing. A little item to help people understand the
prop,
the moral of a little prop.
Yeah.
The cigar's a prop. It's not a real cigar. It's not real smoke. We have these fake cigars that make fake smoke.
It's all CGI green screen.
So when I do this, it's all Mark does this with the computer.
I'm really good.
It's amazing. It looks real, even in poison.
Not a real cigar. Okay, Mark. Sorry.
Anyway, I want to go back and talk about this quote Obama made back when he was in college. Okay?
About his time in college, his book.
In his book, okay?
About himself.
Now, the big idea at 43 minutes after 4 o'clock on WSBR radio, people driving, they're hearing about Cuba, all of that. They turn us on 7:40 a.m. on the dial, or they're watching on the United West, and they just tuned in a little late. We're talking about Cuba. We're talking about President Obama selling out America, making a deal with the devil known as Castro. But this is nothing new, because listen what Mark's going to say right now.
All right. Damon, read this. Read the first sentence only.
I chose my friends carefully.
Do you think he chooses his friends carefully today?
Yes.
Even more so.
Okay. Second sentence, please.
The more politically active black students. The foreign students.
Stop there!
Hold on, stop. I choose my friends carefully, comma, the more politically active black students.
Now, you want me to say anything, or you want me to be quiet?
No, I just want to say.
So
we talk about. So he chooses those same type politically active people. Al Sharpton as his advisor. Okay. So the same as he was then.
It's making sense. When was this written? Circa.
This is back in when he's in college.
He's talking about 80s, his times in college.
Well, that was
mid 80s,
83.
Yeah, mid 80s. Yeah.
So 30 years ago.
Okay. The foreign students.
The Chicanos?
No, the foreign students, yes. The Muslims, everybody else. This is these friends that he's choosing.
Muslim background, yeah, of course.
He was a foreigner, for God's sake.
The Chicanos reaching out to La Raza, and look at the amnesty thing.
Okay, keep going. This is good. This is good.
Now,
we're laying out the academic belief of President Obama, and I've said this many, many times. What you believe eventually becomes what you teach. And if you're a professor, you teach this crap. If you're the president of the United States, you do this crap.
And these are his words back in college. Are these words still true today? So read the next one.
The Chicanos, the Marxist professors and structural feminists
go ahead.
And punk rock performance poets.
I'm not sure about the punk rock performance.
Well, no, just replace that with Jay-Z and Beyonce. The hip-hop artists of the day.
Hip-hop artists, okay. But the first I know, the Marxist professors, Bill Ayers.
Still.
I mean,
Samantha Powers.
Come to me for a second.
Where has his belief structure changed?
This is a look of astonishment. I know this stuff, and I'm astonished as we're going through this. I mean, this is a direct line from his fiat, F-I-A-T. It means acting as a king.
I thought it was a little Italian car.
It is, but there's sometimes words have more than one meaning. By fiat means by his words. His words are so immense and so magnificent that as he speaks them, the world moves. By fiat, he made proclamations yesterday changing the diplomatic and political relationship with Cuba. We're making a direct tie to 31 years ago, his academic beliefs. You idiots that voted for this guy, now you're being repaid. And what is a structural feminist? I don't even know this.
I guess that's like a militant feminist, like the Code Pinkish.
I'd like to interview some structural feminists. If you dinosaurs are still out there moving around, give us a call, okay? We'll have you on the show.
You know, it's just basically, I guess, if you hate America. I mean, basically, that's a list of everyone there is basically just hates America.
All right, now we want to bring in a very important point here. What we're doing today, folks, we're asking the question. And, you know, the Democrats are going nuts right now. I mean, they're going, this is the best thing. We knew our
They're booking their flights.
Booking their flights.
Charlie Rangel's already there.
Hey, the Flagler Railroad is now the Obama Railroad. And they're going right across Key West, right on down to Cuba.
Going to go right over to Cuba.
Oh, my God. Well, that's Warren Buffett's thing is the railroads. He'll figure it out.
Wasn't it Michael Moore that said the healthcare system is in Cuba?
Oh, it's phenomenal.
Is
phenomenal.
Totally state controlled. It's the best there possibly
is. Oh, the best.
Is.
That's why Gross lost 100 pounds in all his teeth. That's why Chavez went there and they killed him. Basically,
yeah, exactly.
They botched his surgery so bad that they killed Chavez.
This is a decrepit third world country hanging on in the last throes of communism, and people go, "Oh, I've heard this in the past 24 hours 100 times." Well, we deal with China, don't we? And we have tourism in China, don't we? And all this China stuff. It not only is it's cigars and. What's Chinese? Cigars and
chopsticks.
Cigars and chopsticks, folks. That's what this is. That you can't compare the two countries, particularly this particular country that is still run by a dictator. There is more political freedom in China, believe it or not, than there is, in Cuba. And the Chinese are smart enough to realize we got to have a free market here somewhere. There's people in China driving $400,000 for not people. Thousands of millionaires and billionaires, entrepreneurial free market Chinese. It's a very bizarre mixture of communism and free market enterprise in China. Nothing to do with this closed system of 11 or 12 million people down in this beautiful island, beautiful, controlled by this guy. But there's one issue that I want to show right now. And
well, we have the audio from Obama.
Oh, let's play the audio. Then we're going to show one of the areas that indeed needs to be revitalized if there's going to be any hope for Cuba. Set up with this is
this is those words again.
To avoid being mistaken for such a sellout, I chose my friends carefully. The more politically active black students, the foreign students, the Chicanos, the Marxist professors and structural feminists and punk rock performance poets.
That's
Do that again.
That's him.
Is that him reading his own book?
Yes.
I'm writing a book that I didn't
I'm going to read it.
And I'm going to read it, and then maybe I'll understand it for the first time.
Well, it's just like teleprompter work, Tom. No different.
I actually caught something in that I didn't catch before.
He says Chicanos.
No. Right at the beginning, he says...
to avoid being mistaken for such a sellout...
To avoid to be mistaken for such a sellout.
That's very good. Was that in the written copy?
No, that wasn't in the written copy. To be because he's a people pleaser. He wants to be the king. To be not. This is all about perception to him. This is all. He doesn't want to be seen as a sellout in these last 2 years because he didn't stick by his values during the election or what he's promised to people. So now he says, I don't want to be seen as a sellout. So what he's going to do now, this is actually starting to make
This is very important because those of you that follow the United West, we're a counterterrorism educational organization.
And Cuba is a lead sponsor of terrorism, so that's why we're covering it.
No, we're celebrating with a cigar that President Obama and the State Department are now reevaluating and actually said, I think it was Jane Saki, whatever, said, why should Cuba be at the same level of Iran as terrorists? How many reasons you want for
right.
state sponsorship of terrorism all over the world with Venezuela, even now. And Venezuela's economy is falling apart, and Cuba's propped up by Venezuela.
Right.
Now we're propping up Cuba. Unbelievable. But
we threw them a lifeline.
Total lifeline. We did extensive 3-hour briefings on the psychology of President Obama, both before the 8 election and the 12, essentially saying he's a narcissist and he needs affirmation from those people around him. That's his psychological makeup. He
states it right here. And this is the very important point, Tom.
Great. It's great to have a self-confidence guy.
He has no self-confidence. And when he says this,
to avoid being mistaken for such a sellout,
this is like what other people think is so important that I chose my friends because of what other people think. He didn't choose it.
He's a child.
Come back here for a minute. Look, it's 51 minutes. We only got a few minutes left in the show. If you get nothing else out of this show, you want to understand President Obama. It's this statement that Mark's going to repeat. It's critically important. It is the definitive template through which he moves public policy. When the president moves public policy, whether it's the war fighter on the front lines or whether it's the laborer on the assembly line, your life is affected. You want a guy that thinks this way to be leading you? Go ahead.
To avoid being mistaken for such a sellout, I chose my friends carefully. The more politically active black students, the foreign students, the Chicanos, the Marxist professors and structural feminists and punk rock performance poets.
This guy is pathetic. He really is.
To be, you know, I've heard I chose my friends more carefully. Yeah. Everybody's kind of like talked about that. But the big important point here is the very first part of that statement, which I never heard before. It was
to avoid being mistaken for such a sellout.
To avoid being mistaken for such a sellout.
He is still in that operating mode.
He's a child. He wants to be the cool kid in school.
Okay, this raises the question, and everybody out there watching or listening, very important question we're raising at 53 minutes after 4 o'clock on the East Coast. It raises
Where's the time go?
It raises the question that that somebody around him right now is influencing him, and he doesn't want to be mistaken as a sellout to the people that are close to him. Who close to him?
Valerie.
We're not going to answer that today. We're going to maybe raise it. Who close to him wants to normalize relationships with a communist country that's about to fold?
We're not going to answer that today?
We're not going to answer that today.
Valerie Jarrett, come on. It's everyone in his administration. He's a freaking communist.
Bill Ayers?
It's this lady right here.
Well, that's Tom Lee.
Listen, here's one thing. I know we don't have a lot of time left.
And I got a 2-minute video.
Yeah, this is such a major thing for him to unilaterally do this without Congress's approval. Okay, and I want everyone to realize what's going on with the sanctions in Iran, how he has been backdoor haggling with Iran for a long time, and don't be shocked when he goes and unilaterally removes.
Has another press conference.
Okay,
the United States are joining hands.
We remove sanctions on Iran, and as the topper on his way out of office, within the last year, he will impose sanctions on Israel.
Thus, our Israel security
to not be seen as a sellout to his Muslim friends.
Yep. Oh, man, it's coming down the pike. You heard it first right here. One of the key elements of a free republic, one of the key elements of a free press, one of the key elements of a culture that's productive is its religious nature, its religious core. We've made the argument extensively here at the United West, whether speaking, whether writing, whether videos, whether shows, whatever, that the Judeo-Christian worldview is integral with our free society and the ability to be successful or the ability to fail. Watch this very short video put together by some pro-faith group. And it's a Harvard professor talking about the relationship of religion to politics. Now, mind you, Cuba, the official religion of Cuba is what?
Communism.
Atheism. No God. How do you run a productive society with no belief in God? Listen to this professor.
Some time ago, I had a conversation with a Marxist economist from China. He was coming to the end of a Fulbright fellowship here in Boston. But I asked him if he had learned anything that was surprising or unexpected. And without any hesitation, he said, yeah. I had no idea how critical religion is to the functioning of democracy. The reason why democracy works, he said, is not because the government was designed to oversee what everybody does, but rather democracy works because most people, most of the time, voluntarily choose to obey the law. And in your past, most Americans attended a church or a synagogue every week, and they were taught there by people who they respected. My friend went on to say that Americans followed these rules because they had come to believe that they weren't just accountable to society, they were accountable to God. My Chinese friend heightened a vague but nagging concern I've harbored inside that as religion loses its influence over the lives of Americans, what will happen to our democracy? Where are the institutions that are going to teach the next generation of Americans that they too need to voluntarily choose to obey the laws? Because if you take away religion, you can't hire enough police.
Wow. If you take away religion, you can't hire enough police. Again, another great idea we want to leave for you on our show. And this is a definitive core issue of the failure of communism, the failure of Cuba. Atheism is the official religion. And the tears you see in my eyes have nothing to do with that wonderful video.
It's a cigar smoke.
But the expansive studio that we have here, this fake cigar, the fake smoke is burning my eyes. I'm kind of glad.
I'm CGI-ing that one in, you know, so I thought that's pretty good.
I'm glad we're coming to the end of the show so I can breathe again. You don't smoke cigars in a box, okay? That's another big idea.
Especially a little green box.
A little green box, yeah. That's another big idea for the show. But, hey, folks.
Yeah, because if you do, you'll end up looking like this eventually. So
yeah, there you go. Yeah, look at that. That's a Cuban cigar roller, right? All right, we're gonna follow this story. We have some very dear Cuban friends that want to come on and want to talk about this. But we admit that whenever there's a move to help the people of a totalitarian country, we're so gracious and so helpful as Americans that there's an emotional response that feels good and looks good. So you see some of the stuff going on yesterday, and you go, oh, now maybe we can help the Cubans and that's fine. You do not make major public policy on emotional, anecdotal circumstances. This is what President Obama lives and thrives on, and sadly, this is how the soft-minded left, the Democrats of the soft-minded left think. Oh, everything's going to be okay. This is a horrible government. You think all the people that are driving the cars that are new, like from the 1970s, that's a new car in Cuba, you think they're going to give up their cars now for free enterprise and all of that, and they got to go find a job and they can do nothing but shuffle paper around? This is a serious, serious problem. Thank God the United States Congress has to lift the embargo and truly get complete working relationships. And maybe it's time to do that, but not without serious and significant concessions on religion, on speech, and on elections in Cuba. Have a second party, release the prisoners, get rid of the gulags. A lot needs to be done. Don't be dismayed and confused and swayed and duped by President Obama. What do you think, guys? We got about a minute left.
Well
said. I think there's going to be a flood of 57 Chevys into the country. You talk about the car, restorers are going to be like having a field day.
Yeah, they're going to go over there with $1,000 and buy 557 Chevys.
And here's
that might not be a way to fund our operation here.
Here's another example of Obama's just complete disregard for working within the system that we do. This is a quote from his. As these changes unfold, referring to Cuba, I look forward to engaging Congress in an honest and serious debate about lifting the embargo. He just did it unilaterally, and now he's talking about doing that.
Well, he lifted the diplomatic end of the relationship, not the economic. And the embargo's not, there's no ships around Cuba keeping other countries from bringing food or water or anything. Plus, we allow humanitarian aid to go in. We simply say you can't trade with the United States.
We have a freaking military base there.
Yeah.
You go training.
Yeah, what about that?
Guantanamo Bay hires hundreds and hundreds of people to come work on Guantanamo Bay base and the whole thing, the Navy base and the prison.
To be true to his beliefs now, Obama's going to say, I can't close Gitmo. That's part of Cuba. We got to leave.
No, he'll
Gitmo.
actually use it as more of a reason to close Gitmo.
Well, stay tuned for part 2 of Obama Castro. Soul Brothers all the way, folks. Thanks for being here. We'll see you tomorrow. All right, can I get rid of this cigar?
We got to smoke it to the end of the close, the intro. So.
Cuba. Cubans know how to dance and party. That is true. All right, see you tomorrow.